Hey, my name is Troy and welcome to Facility D20. This is a Carnifex by GW, and tonight we're going to make something a little more badass and way cheaper because we're always making cool stuff in the facility. This is going to be a fun one, guys. Come on in, let's get at it. Well, sometimes you just got to give the devil his due, and before we get started here, I want to say that the Carnifex has been one of my all-time favorite Tyranid models since like the last 15 years, and I've kicked a lot of Dark Angel ass with it. The best thing about this model is the lore, it's the sculpt, I don't know, it's just got a lot of great stuff going for it. It's definitely a classic 40k mini, so it's going to be hard for one-page rules to keep up with it, but there's one advantage that one-page rules got that might just put it over the top. So as great as that Carnifex model is, man, at $110 for a unit of 2, that's steep, and I think this is where one-page rules is going to start kicking some ass. If you aren't familiar with one-page rules, head over to their website and check them out. They make some awesome games and miniature for the grim dark future inspired by like 40k. This time we're taking a look at the Alien Hive's Carnivor Rex model. This is a pretty sweet model. I threw this thing in the slicer. I had the option to print it in multiple pieces or one whole piece. I decided to print it in one whole piece, but I did throw on a few heavier supports here just to make sure I anchored it nice and tight to the bed so the vacuum pressure wouldn't pull it off. Sliced this thing up, and it was going to cost me $3.03 and run me just over 11 hours print time. Loaded the file into the printer. Hit print, and away we go. So guys, I want to say thanks. So many subscribers came in off my last video. It's crazy. Go ahead and smash that subscribe button and come join this channel. It's really growing now, and it's really cool to see you guys here, and I love interacting with you guys in the comments. Yeah, this thing really reminded me of those dogs on Predator. It's the next day. This thing's been hanging upside down for a little while. Let's get out of there, see what the print looks like, get it washed and cured so we can get it primed. Looking pretty good. Looks like we got a nice clean print. It's always hard to tell until we get set out of the supports. So I popped this off the build plate, and there were a ton of supports on this thing. And some of them were hooked on pretty good too, especially the ones that I added myself. Make sure you wear protective gloves at this, guys, because resin can burn your skin. And it was time to fill up my wash and cure. This time I decided to use alcohol because there's just nothing that cleans better than alcohol. I did dilute this with a bit of water, 3 bottles of alcohol, and 1 can for me. Dump the model in, set it to wash for 5 minutes, cured it for another 4 minutes, 3 minutes here. The model was done. I did have a little bit of an issue on some of the spikes, didn't quite fully print, and there's a little bit of a gap there on the tail. So I just went and cleaned off any support marks that was left over on the model. Took some Vallejo plastic putty and tried to fill the gaps. This didn't work that great, but it helped a little bit. I just got impatient and didn't use enough of it. Should have did a couple of coats. Then it was time for the Necrotic Flesh Army Painter Spray Paint. Just give me a nice base to work with and save me some painting time. So in order to make this model come to life, I gotta paint it now, right? When I started this knit army like 15 years ago, I made my own wash of like this dark green color, and now in order for all these models to blend together in my army, I got to continue to do it, and I really hate doing this step, but it's just something that I got to do. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, but at the end of the day, this is a pretty cool paint scheme that I wanted to show you guys, and I'm hoping that this one-page rules mini is going to fit right in with the rest of my knit army. So here we go. Start with some water, add some Cayman green from Vallejo. Then a little bit of glazed medium from Vallejo. Give it a good stir, and you got yourself a impromptu wash. Now this don't work quite as good as your traditional washes, but it helps to dirty up the flesh tones here, and that's what I was going for. Once that was done, I washed the whole thing with a heavy dose of sepia. And then it was time to use some Dead Flesh by Vallejo, and I just gave this thing a super heavy overbrush. Lots of paint on my brush, and just try to clean this skin tone right back up to where it came from, basically. You can see here I'm going pretty liberally with this brush and this paint here. Carapace was painted with some Cayman green, and this takes a bunch of steps, but step number one is to get that green on there. Use some camouflage green on all the claws and horns and stuff on this guy. Also wash these things and shade them up a bit too. Then some Cayman and Dead Flesh with a 50-50 mix, and I just add some stripes on the back of his shell. Once that was done, the Thraka Green. Good old Thraka Green, man. I love these old GW paints. Too bad they don't make them like this anymore. Still got a few of them kicking around, but I always got my eye out for them. I just find they work better than the shades. Once that was dry, I went in with the no oil, give it a second wash on the carapace here. Nice and heavy. I like to keep it upside down so it runs up tight to the shell pieces instead of flowing down his back. And hey, it was time for game night. I was so inspired by painting these things I decided to bust out my nids. If you guys are enjoying this video, hit the like button. Make sure to let me know in the comments what your favorite 40k army is. Then I went in with some lime green here, and I just done some striping just to add a few more details. And with some green, I painted the tongue. Went in with some contrast paints from GW. Did the whole mouth area. Skeleton bone, and just touched the teeth. Now I painted these black first. And that helps to give that real like cartoony look, to paint the teeth black and the eye sockets black and then go in. After that I use some sepia just up in the higher parts of the teeth where it meets the gum line. Went back in with some watered down bone just to brighten it back up. And then finally hit it with some white, some watered down white just to make the tips of the teeth pop. I also painted the eyeballs like this as well. So I finally started my Patreon account. I got some cool stuff over there, exclusive videos, printable STL files, shout outs. If you want to check it out and support the channel, I'll link it at the end of the video. We got to make bases like this. The first thing we got to do is we got to paint these green.
Paint the green?
All on the top.
Where?
It's okay, it's a magnet.
Oh. It's a magnet?
I'm going to use this brush and take this glue, and we're going to paint all of this in glue. Oh no, wait, before that.
Okay.
We want to get a little bit of glue on ours, look. A little glue on the rock. Put the rock where you want it. Take your bush, and glue on the bush.
Take your bush, and glue on the bush.
Put your bush where you want it. That's good. Where you want it. Okay. We only got a little bit of this, so we got to be careful.
What's it called?
This one is called blade grass.
What?
Pick a little pinch up.
Pick a little
And sprinkle it all over. Yeah, my little man really wanted to be in this video, so I said, sure. I got some bases to make. Come on over and help me out. I think he had a good time.
Tough. The magical stuff. It's the magical stuff.
Take it out, cleaner. A little bit more. Squeeze tight. Right up close, like this. Oh. Right up close. There you go, slow down. Bye-bye. I knew that pose reminded me of something that was definitely the T-Rex from Jurassic Park. So guys, considering that it would cost me $330 to run 6 Carnifexes in my list, and I can run one-page rules for like $18, yeah, I think for at least now, I'm gonna have to go with one-page rules. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to hit subscribe and check out some other videos on my channel because we're always making cool stuff in the facility.